As the nation's oldest city, it only makes sense that St. Augustine would also have some of the country's oldest ghost stories. One of the most haunted spots is said to be the historic lighthouse.
District Jax reporter Aaron Farrar visited the nearly 150-year-old landmark, and he talked with people who work there every day dealing with the paranormal.
219 steps all the way up to this observation deck of the lighthouse. We're about 140 feet in the air, but it's what's happened for years below us that really adds to the spooky season. Guests wander around these hollowed halls of the St. Augustine Lighthouse, now 148 years old. Sammy Washburn, who gives Dark of the Moon tours year-round, says there are other visitors among them, ghosts. Washburn says she's witnessed some of that paranormal activity.
He'll open and close windows when they aren't supposed to be open or closed.
That's a typical act of this shadowy figure who Washburn says is one of the more popular ghosts. It might be a former lighthouse keeper who also picks up and drops this bucket. Bobby Dye with the St. Augustine Lighthouse and Maritime Museum believes those experiences can catch people off guard.
There's a level of shock anytime they experience, something paranormal here on the grounds.
Washburn has been giving tours here for 6 years, and sometimes things just get really creepy, like the time she was locked inside the lighthouse.
It was definitely one of those jaw-dropping, I can't believe this is happening, how do we get out? Thankfully I had a fellow staff member with me who was willing to climb out of a side window and unlock the door.
Things change when these guests have those paranormal encounters.
People sometimes say they're struggling to climb to the top of the lighthouse, and then all of a sudden they'll feel like a hand on their back, kind of guiding them up to the top of the lighthouse.
Washburn credits that to this ghost, Maria Andrew, who is dressed in white and is one of the only ghosts she says appears in full-body apparition. Maria was the wife of a keeper of the old lighthouse who fell to his death. Then there's Peter Rasmussen, one of Washburn's favorite ghosts. He was the longest-serving lighthouse keeper, 23 years on the job in the early 1900s. Washburn says he sends a cherry tobacco scent throughout the entire lighthouse, especially when another guest insults him. Washburn says that's happened before.
He called Peter stupid, and as we were exiting the room that we were in, he stopped right in the doorway. And I went back to check on him, and I got to the other side of the doorway, and there was just this whiff of cherry tobacco, like someone had walked through the doorway in between us. So I think that was Peter just letting this guy know, hey, I've got my eye on you, don't insult me again.
The reactions of these mysterious encounters vary, but those who underestimate them, Washburn says, are the best.
Those are kind of my favorites because they're usually the ones who are like, I'll be fine. Ghosts could talk to me, ghosts could touch me, I'd be good. But then they actually have something happen and they're like, all right, I'm done, I'm out.
So what would you do? Reporting in St. Augustine, I'm Aaron Farrar, Channel 4, the local station.
I say we take the morning show team. Spend the night up there with
Spend the night?
Ghost hunting. Yes, with some ghost equipment. Yes. And see what happens. Yeah, Rich?
Yeah, Rich is in. Rich is in. I don't know, that might need to be a guy trip. I don't like being scared.
We're there to protect you.
Oh, jeez. There's some comfort there.
Lighthouse isn't the only spot on the historic site where there have been reports of paranormal activity. The lighthouse keeper's house is said to be home to several specters. Ahead at 8, the story is behind some of its most well-known residents.